am so excited today because I have the biggest book haul I have ever brought home from the library. I'm literally drowning in books and I'm loving every minute of it. As you saw in the thumbnail, I tried to hold the stack. I almost couldn't hold them. It was so big. They started falling and I frantically grabbed them and managed to get a good shot before I dropped them all. So this stack is massive and I'm super excited about it. Say hi to little Miss Smokey back there, sleeping on her heated blanket. Sorry she's not facing the camera. Cats, as you know, are very independent. They do their own little thing, and she's not facing the camera right now. Okay, I got, first off, look what I got, a fantasy book. You say, Becky, why are you reading a fantasy? I thought you didn't like fantasy. Well, you remember I liked that cat book so much, which was out of my genre. Well, this is told from the perspective of Toto from The Wizard of Oz. How freaking cute is that? I could not resist. I think my bestie Caitlin would love this because, you know, she's got that cute little dog Tishka. I think she would love this. So, Caitlin, I think you might want to try this. Of course, I can't say for sure until I read it, but it sounds really good. Let me read the synopsis to you. It says, I was mostly a good dog until they sold me out to animal control, okay? But if it's a choice between Oz with its creepy little singing dudes and being behind bars in gray old Kansas, I'll choose the place where animals talk and run the show for now, thanks. It's not my fault that the kid is stuck here too, or that she stumbled into a tug of war over a pair of slippers that don't even taste good. How cute is this? Like, I hope it's as much fun as it sounds. Now, one witch in good eyeliner calls her pretty and we're off on a quest. Teenagers! I try to tell her she's falling in with the wrong crowd when she befriends a freaking hedge wizard made of straw. That blue jay with revolutionary aspirations and the walking tin can. Still, I'm not one to judge when there's a small matter of a coup in the forest kingdom. Look, something really stinks in Oz, and this wizard guy and the witches positively reek of it. As usual, it's going to be up to a sensible little dog to do a big dog's job and get to the bottom of it. And trust me, little dogs can get away with anything. How cute does that sound? Like, I hope it's as good as it sounds. Oh my goodness, I love it. Okay, another thing out of my genre, romance. No, you're reading a romance? Yes. I'm considering it, and here's why. Because it's a very unusual plot. I may hate it. I may DNF it, but I was willing to give it a try because it just sounds kind of fun and funny. A recently deceased woman meets the one in the afterlife waiting room, scoring a second chance at life and love if she can find him on Earth before 10 days are up. If she wasn't dead already, Delphi would be dying of embarrassment. Not only did she die by choking on a microwavable burger, but now she's standing in her shine like a star nightie in front of the hottest man she's ever seen, and he's smiling at her. As they start to chat, everything else becomes background noise. That is, until someone comes running out of a door yelling something about a huge mistake and sends the dreamy stranger back down to Earth. And here Delphi was thinking her luck might be different in the afterlife. When Delphi is offered a deal in which she can return to Earth and reconnect with the mysterious man, she jumps at the opportunity to find her possible soulmate and a fresh start. But in a city of millions, Delphi is going to have to listen to her heart, learn to ask for help, and perhaps even see the magic in the life she's leaving behind. So, I mean, that's just so unique. It's not your typical romance plot. I thought I'd give it a try. We'll see. Now, this is true crime, and you know we love some true crime. With a title like this, who could resist? Raised by a serial unaliver, Discovering the Truth About My Father by April Blasco? I don't know how you pronounce her last name. As a child, April moved nearly every year with her family, crisscrossing the country from one campground or ramshackle rented house to the next. They were seemingly always on the run, but from what she never understood. Her father, whom she both loved and feared, always had an excuse, and whatever chased them from their latest home became buried in her memories, along with many other disturbing secrets. Decades later, at the age of 40, April began obsessively searching online for cold cases in the towns she'd lived in as a child. One night, a story popped up that gave her an eerie sense of deja vu. Two young people who disappeared in the summer of 1980 near Watertown, Wisconsin, had become a famous unsolved double unaliving called the Sweetheart Unaliving. As memories of Watertown began to resurface and terrifying possibilities dawned on her, April faced a grave choice: betray the person who had raised her or let the dark truth go undiscovered. She picked up the phone to call the police hotline, changing her family's life forever. The astonishing story behind the #1 hit true crime podcast, The Clearing, hailed as an immense achievement by The Guardian. This book delves deeper than ever before, uncovering chilling, never-before-told details and fresh insights in a story that has riveted millions. Told with heartbreaking candor and clarity, she reveals a lifetime of manipulation, upheaval, and silent fear. The result is a gripping, courageous memoir unlike any other. Who can pass up a memoir like that? I have already started reading this. It's good. It's good. Okay, now this one is really unique. I love Frida McFadden. This is hilarious. It is The Widow's Husband's Secret Lie, a satirical novella. I was like, I didn't know what to expect. It's a tiny little book. Tiny little book. Like, you can read it in less than a day. But it is hilarious. Basically, what it is, it's not like any of her other books. She's basically poking fun at, taking all of, and at the same time, it's like, it's not, obviously it's satirical. So it's not meant to be taken seriously as a real thriller. But it's like she's poking fun at all the things that happen in thrillers. And like, okay, here's one example. I'll show you. She specifically mentions that in a lot of Facebook thriller groups, people had talked about how, and I was in those thriller groups, and I saw people and Frida talking about this. They would talk about how so many thrillers will say that someone didn't realize they were holding, they let out the breath they didn't realize they were holding. Yeah. And people said, I get so tired of hearing that. Every time I turn around, I'm reading, she let out the breath she didn't realize she was holding. So she specifically includes that in this story as a joke, like as a shout out to those people, like it's that kind of a thing. Like, it's just really hilarious. I didn't know how to rate it on Goodreads because it's not an actual thriller. It's not meant to be. It's something completely different. So I really didn't know how to rate it. Like, I did think it was hilarious. I wouldn't give it 5 stars though, because typically what I give 5 stars is like, it's got a great plot. It's got great twists. It really held my attention. Like, this was funny, but it was very light and fluffy, so I don't know what to rate it. I might just mark it as read and not rate it. I don't really know what to rate it, but it certainly was hilarious. So there's that. Okay. Then we have Brew Unto Others. Look at the little skeleton there in the coffee cup by Sandra Blasio. The Kingston family has always been at odds, but Maggie Thorson hopes that the passing of Edna Mays Kingston, mother of Sarah Kingston, her Uncommon Grounds coffeehouse partner, might unite them. Alas, few tears are shed over the self-righteous Edna, and the wake is barely over when Edna's body is shuffled off unceremoniously for burial, and Sarah's sister Ruth is found unconscious in the family home. Did Ruth suffer accidental carbon monoxide poisoning or something more sinister? And could there have been more to Ruth's haste to bury Edna than meets the eye? Determined to find out, Maggie and Sarah join forces with Sarah's niece Ariel. As questions mount and family tensions percolate, the presence of a mysterious stranger leads the trio into the past to uncover the darkest of family secrets. And then we have Grounds for Unaliving by Betty Turnier Daniels. Gianni is in trouble. After the loss of her husband, everyone around her is pressuring her to leave her precious farm, including an incredibly persistent realtor who won't name her client. When Gianni refuses to sell, someone tries to unalive her. Who wants Gianni's land so badly that they are willing to unalive a 60-year-old widow for it? Joining forces with off-duty cop Derek, Gianni must learn to open her mind and heart in her quest to find the answer and the unaliver, all while grappling with ghosts from her past and wrestling with the question of land transfer and ownership. Will the next generation love her farm as intensely as she does? And will she survive long enough to find out? And by A.J. Cross. I've never read anything by A.J. Cross. The Loose End. I liked the cover on this. It kind of looks like, I don't know for sure, but I think it might be set like in England. It kind of looks like the row houses in England. I could be wrong, but it just reminds me of that. I liked the cover. No one has seen reclusive Emma Matson for years, but when her mummified remains are found in the basement of a property in Birmingham during a renovation, the chilling discovery leads to more questions than answers. Forensic psychologist Professor Tigan Kraft from Central University is called in to assist DCI Steve Thompson's team with the investigation, and her shrewd observations on her first police case quickly profile a ruthlessly efficient unaliver. So ruthless that they have struck more than once. As Tigan uncovers a number of cold unaliving cases involving young women linked by geography and time to Emma's terrible fate, Thompson is skeptical about her theories and unconventional style. Can they learn to work together to catch a serial unaliver before another tragedy strikes? And entitled The Inside Story of a Rich Family's Succession, that's more gripping than Succession by Leonard H. Orr. It's kind of funny, like there's a little honeybee there and honey dripping off the money. To protect their lavish allowances, four charismatic sisters in their 30s try to seduce, cajole, and mislead their less well-off neighbor, Benjamin, who their father has hired to investigate an attempt to smother him while he was in the hospital recovering from a car crash. Their feckless brother responds by threatening Benjamin with I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. I don't know if I'm allowed to name the weapon on YouTube or not. You have to be careful. Their feckless brother responds by threatening, I already read that, while their socialite mother falsely confesses to the crime. Trying to dominate everyone is their father, a wheeling, dealing, helicopter-flying entrepreneur who is afraid he might have hallucinated the smothering, even more afraid that it might have been real, and terrified that he might be losing control of his family and fortune. Desperate, he implements a devious and dastardly scheme. Played out on the fashionable Connecticut shore and Manhattan's Upper East Side, the shenanigans of the entitled rich don't prevent Benjamin from finding the truth and maybe even love. We'll see. Now, next, I've got a series of 4 books. I was talking to my awesome librarian, Catherine, and I was telling her that I love books that have like animals as the characters, talking animals. And she said, oh, I've got a series I think you will love. And so I'm excited to try it. It's called a Shady Hollow Mystery Series. And the whole thing, all of the characters in this series, there's 5 books. I may not have them in order. She had them in order for me, but I'll have to, they got mixed up as I was taking everything out of my book bag. But there's Mirror Lake, Cold Clay, Shady Hollow, Summer's End, and Twilight Falls. And all of the characters in the book are animals. So that's why she thought I would really like it. And it does sound really fun. So I'm excited to try it. It's labeled as a mystery. And Yeah, it's change is coming to Shady Hollow with an unusually fraught election shaping up between long-serving Chief of Police Theodore Meade and Vera's beau, Deputy Orville Braun. But the political tension takes a back seat when resident eccentric Dorothy Springfield becomes convinced her beloved husband Edward is dead and that the rat claiming to be him is actually a fraud. While most of the townsfolk dismiss Dorothy's rants as nothing more than a delusion, Vera has her doubts. More than a few things aren't adding up in the Springfield household, but Vera will have to tread carefully with Orville's attention on the election. She may be more exposed than ever. So I'm only reading the back of one of them. I'm not reading the backs of all of them. And I will let you know what I think of this series. I certainly think it sounds like a lot of fun. Talking animals with the animals actually being the characters in this little hollow. Like, it does sound so fun. So I hope it's as fun as it sounds. Okay. Then Death in the Family by Tessa Weggert. Spooky looking cover there. A storm-struck island. A blood-soaked bed. A missing man. Senior investigator Shayna Merchant believes an unaliver lurks among the island's elite group of guests, and that unaliver is a family affair. 13 months ago, former NYPD detective Shayna Merchant barely survived being abducted by a serial unaliver. Now hoping to leave those memories and grisly unaliving cases behind, she's taken a job in her fiance's sleepy hometown in the Thousand Islands region of upstate New York. But as a nor'easter bears down on her new territory, Shayna and fellow investigator Tim Wellington receive a call about a young man missing from his wealthy family's private island. Shayna and Tim arrive to find blood at the scene and a house full of family and friends on edge. While Tim guesses they're dealing with a runaway case, Shauna is convinced that they have an unaliving on their hands. As the gale intensifies outside, she starts conducting interviews and discovers the family and their guests are crawling with dark and dangerous secrets. Trapped on the island by the raging storm, Shauna will have to trust the one person her abduction destroyed her faith in, herself. But time is running out because if Shauna's right, there's an unaliver in their midst, and as the pressure mounts, so do the odds that they'll strike again. I love it. Then I got another. I told you I'm reading all of his backlist. Carter Wilson. He hasn't disappointed me yet, so I'm going to keep on trying him out here. The Comfort of Black. A dark past emerges to destroy any hope of a future. Though they seem to have everything, Hannah Parks has watched her husband Dallin become increasingly distant. Her hope is buoyed when the couple decides to start a family. But what Dallin reveals in his sleep one night rocks Hannah to her core. As she starts to investigate a much darker side of Dallin than she ever knew existed, Hannah peels away the layers of a diseased relationship closely tied to her own dysfunctional past. When Dallin attempts to have Hannah abducted, she is forced to run, doing so with the aid of a man named Black, an ex-con, an expert at helping people disappear. Together they must keep Hannah safe from her husband's far-reaching grasp, all the while trying to solve the mystery behind Dallin's sudden violence. Does Hannah's dark family history hold the key to her survival? Doesn't that sound good? Then we have One Night Gone by Tara Lakowski. I can't remember if I've ever read anything by her or not. The name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. One sultry summer, Maureen Hathaway arrives in the wealthy town of Opal Beach to start her life anew, to achieve her destiny. There she finds herself lured by the promise of friendship, love, starry skies, and wild parties. But Maureen's new life just might be too good to be true, and before the summer is up, she vanishes. Decades later, when Allison Simpson is offered the opportunity to house sit in Opal Beach during the off-season, it seems like the perfect chance to begin fresh after a messy divorce. And when she becomes drawn into the mysterious disappearance of a girl 30 years before, Allison realizes the gorgeous homes of Opal Beach hide dark secrets. And the truth of that long-ago summer is not even the most shocking part. And then here's a whopping book. Look how big that is. It's the next one after, in the Anthony Horowitz series that I was reading, Magpie Unalivings, Moonflower Unalivings. I'm hoping this one is just as good as the first one was. Retired publisher Susan Ryland is living the good life. She is running a small hotel on a Greek island with her long-term boyfriend, Andreas. It should be everything she's always wanted, but is it? She's exhausted with the responsibilities of making everything work on an island where nothing ever does, and truth be told, she's beginning to miss London. Then, I don't know how to pronounce this name, Trehernes? Then the Trehernes come to stay. The strange and mysterious story they tell about an unfortunate unaliving that took place on the same day and in the same hotel in which their daughter was married. A picturesque inn on the Suffolk coast named Branlow Hall fascinates Susan and piques her editor's instincts. One of her former writers, the late Alan Conway, who we read about in the first novel, author of the fictional Magpie Unalivings, knew the unaliving victim, an advertising executive named Frank Paris, and once visited Branlow Hall. Conway based the third book in his detective series, Atticus Pun Takes the Case, on that very crime. The daughter, Cicely, some of these names I'm not sure how to pronounce, read Conway's mystery and believed the book proves that the man convicted of Paris unaliving, a Romanian immigrant who was the hotel's handyman, is innocent. When the Trehernes reveal that Cicely is now missing, Susan knows she must return to England and find out what really happened. So, hopefully that's good. I think from what I gather, it's a mystery within a mystery like the first one was, so I think it'll be good. Then, this is actually labeled as horror. I don't usually read horror, but again, I do sometimes. It depends on the type, it really just depends on the story. And what I liked about this is I did love the movie The Blair Witch Project. And the funny thing was, when I watched that movie, I thought it was real. I didn't know that it was. Sorry if that was a spoiler. If any of you have not seen The Blair Witch Project, surely you have by now. That movie's been around forever. But, yeah, I thought it was real, which I'm glad I didn't know until the end that it wasn't real. Because that made it so much better. Like, I was on the edge of my seat, like, oh my word, they're all gonna die in the woods, So what drew me to this was it says the Blair Witch Project meets Midsummer in this brilliantly disturbing thriller. Okay, well, this is calling it a thriller. From Camilla Sten, an electrifying new voice in suspense. Documentary filmmaker Alice Lidston has been obsessed with the vanishing residents of an old mining town dubbed the Lost Village. Doesn't that sound, ooh, since she was a little girl. In 1959, her grandmother's entire family disappeared in the mysterious tragedy, and ever since, the unanswered questions surrounding the only two people who were left, a woman stoned to death in the town center and an abandoned newborn, have plagued her. She gathered a small crew of friends in the remote village to make a film about what happened. But there will be no turning back. Not long after they've set up camp, strange things begin to happen. Equipment is destroyed. People go missing. As doubt breeds fear and their very minds begin to crack, one thing becomes startlingly clear to Alice. They are not alone. They're looking for the truth, but what if it finds them first? Come find out. That sounds so good. I hope it is. And the last one, no pun intended, because it's The Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda. 10 years ago, Abigail Lovett fell into a job she loves, managing the Passage Inn, a cozy resort nestled in the mountains of North Carolina in a town called Cutter's Pass. Tourists are drawn to the town for its outdoor offerings in proximity to the Appalachian Trail, but also for its notorious history as the last known location for 6 different visitors who vanished without a trace over the last 3 decades. When journalist Landon West comes to investigate the story of the vanishing trail, then disappears himself, the town and the inn are thrust back into the spotlight. After months without any leads, Abby is shocked when West's brother Trey checks into the Passage Inn one evening. Knowing how cold the case is, Abby can't help but feel for this man. She's all too familiar with how the locals tend to close ranks to outsiders. But it isn't until Abby uncovers incriminating new evidence that she realizes how very little she knows about her coworkers and neighbors, and just how dangerous that is. My goodness, I think I have some fantastic reading ahead of me, and I am so excited. Oh my goodness. So let me know in the comments if you have read any of these, or which one of these look good to you that you might be interested in. And I will report back this weekend on the winners. Alrighty, I will see you all this weekend. Bye.